Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Discworld Noir. So last week we used the astrologer stuff to find this place, so here we are.
I searched the grotesque carefully and concluded that it was a cover stone for something underground.
Yeah, we came here to find the jewel Two Conquers was looking for. Apparently.
I pushed it, opening up the crypt below.
Ooh.
The stale air told me that this chamber hadn't been visited in hundreds of years. In the gloom, I could make out a single sarcophagus.
There we go, interesting stuff.
The lid of the sarcophagus was sealed shut. The sarcophagus didn't look like any recent design. In fact, I was surprised to see one in Ankh-Morpork at all. It must have been imported from somewhere. I couldn't move the peg with my hands. On the sarcophagus was a circular indentation with a square peg coming out of it.
Now, luckily I remember exactly what to do here. Something that we've had for forever that's now actually useful.
Mundy's coin fitted the indentation perfectly, and with it I could easily turn the peg. There was a faint click, and the sarcophagus opened. Inside the sarcophagus was a suit of armor, grasping a glowing gem that could only be the radiant trapezohedron. I wasn't expecting the armor to burst into life, though.
Thanks a lot. 400 years I wait for you to come and let me out. And the first thing you do is cut my arm off. It'll take ages to sew back on.
I'm sorry. I just sort of acted reflexively.
So you instinctively cut the arm off people you meet?
If they come bursting out of a coffin, yes.
It's a sarcophagus. A very nice sarcophagus. Donated to the Order by some nice people in Jelly Baby.
And you're vitally impaired.
Vitally impaired? What's that supposed to mean? Call a spade a spade. I'm a zombie. Right.
If that's the way you want it, I need that jewel.
I'm sure you do. But first, you must answer the riddle and prove your worth.
The riddle?
Indeed. Are you ready, mortal?
Reminds me of the boy from Malcolm in the Middle.
This is ridiculous. I'm in a real hurry and I need that jewel.
Oh, please. I've been here for 400 years. Please let me ask the riddle.
Make it fast.
All right. What is... Oh, bugger. I've forgotten it.
You've forgotten it?
Well, it has been 400 years. You see how good your memory is after 4 centuries. Especially when you've got mice.
Can I have the jewel or not?
No. I have to ask the riddle. How else am I going to know if you're a follower of the dark cults?
Let me get this straight. You can tell if I'm a follower of the dark cults by whether or not I can answer a riddle.
Absolutely.
So how does that work, then? Are the forces of darkness incapable of answering riddles?
I'm sure the gods would never allow the unworthy to gain control of this.
Interesting theory. Look, I need that jewel, and you're just going to have to find a way to give it to me.
The Order decided that we'd ask a riddle to determine the worthiness of anyone petitioning for the trapezohedron. I have to ask a riddle.
You mentioned the Order.
Yes. The Order of the Sacred Tulip. You must have heard of us.
Let me guess. You went out on rampaging crusades across other people's nations with some spurious religious purpose, and came back having stolen a fortune from so-called inferior nations, and then started getting involved in ecclesiastical politics on the proceeds,
Those were the days, Yep. You got it in one.
And the Order buried you with the trapezohedron.
That's right. They needed a guardian, and I volunteered.
You volunteered to be buried with the jewel for hundreds of years?
I thought it'd look good on my record.
Can't you just make a riddle up?
Well, there was one specific riddle I was supposed to be asking.
But since you can't remember it, you need a new plan. Why not just make one up?
All right. What is, no. Sorry. I can't do it. My mind's a blank. You know what it's like when you're under pressure to perform. You just can't do it.
The city is going to be destroyed because you don't perform well under pressure. I don't believe this.
What can we do to make him love us? Talk about the plays. Don't want to show
I didn't
that.
think I could win the zombie over by showing him the amulet. He'd probably assume I was a worshipper of Nylon Athatep. Look, I have the golden falchion. Surely that counts for something.
Oh, I knew you had the sword, but that's no help. If you're on the side of darkness, and you have the falchion, then I definitely can't give you the jewel.
How did you know I had the sword?
I saw you coming in the jewel.
Really? Did you see anything else?
Oh, I've been watching the progress of the sword since I got here.
In which case you must have seen Mundy hide the sword in the crate, and me recover it from Vault 51.
Yes, I did.
So, you saw me killed by Anu Anu.
Oh, yeah. That big dog creature. How did you survive that, by the way?
Carlotta had turned me into a werewolf.
I thought it might be something like that. They never give you the whole story with those cliffhanger endings. I remember 200 years ago when I saw someone go off the cliff in a cart. Only it turned out he actually leapt clear at the last minute. I call that cheating.
Anyway, did you see when Anu Anu summoned Nylonathotep?
Oh, I see. That's what the big cosmic horror was then.
What did you think it was?
Well, I thought it might just have been fog. The reception in here isn't very good.
If you saw all that, you must know that I'm not with the forces of darkness.
Hang on. You were there when this cosmic horror was summoned?
Yes.
Then why didn't you stop it?
I was being restrained. Come on, just give me the jewel.
No can do.
You saw me defeat Satrap, wasn't that enough? Didn't you hear what he said?
No sound with the jewel, I'm afraid. You just get pictures.
Do you know what's most ridiculous about this? If I was with the dark sect, I'd just use the sword to kill you, and then just run off with the jewel.
You know, that's a very good point.
So I'll tell you what I'll do. Either give me the jewel freely, or I'll pretend I'm with the dark sects and I'll just take it.
You're not leaving me many options.
Jewel, please.
Here you go.
Yay, we got the jewel.
Thank you. And may I say, I hope the next 400 years just fly by.
Oh, I liked him, I feel bad. Anyway.
The trapezohedron fitted into the pommel perfectly, but I wanted to wait until the right moment to do it.
Okay.
The golden... I had a...
How do we leave? There.
Useful though they are.
Oh, you stupid arse, I'm not trying
Leaving
to
the crypt, leaving the crypt, leaving the crypt, leaving the crypt, leaving the crypt, leaving...
You're accessing what he's doing.
Horst!
Oh.
I was wondering where you had got to.
Then we have been engaged in similar pastimes.
Luton,
Ilsa.
As you can see, I have been forced to take more drastic action. I dislike having to take such radical steps, but since the untimely demise of Mr. Alcali, I no longer have the luxury of observing events from afar.
Let her go, Horst.
Let her go, Mr. Luton? You make it sound as if she is my prisoner. I am merely keeping her well protected against the more hostile elements of this wretched settlement.
Let her go.
That is precisely my intention, Mr. Luton. But first, you must fulfill your agreement with me.
You want the sword.
Indeed. You agreed to bring me the sword, and I'm here to collect.
No deal, Horst. I need the sword to stop Nylonathotep.
Indeed. And what might that be, sir?
It's a creature from the dungeon dimensions, and it's loose in Ankh-Morpork.
That's as maybe. It still doesn't change our agreement. You promised me the sword, sir, and I am here to collect.
If I give you the sword, thousands will die.
Oh, come now. The world is full of people. What are the lives of those insignificant specks compared to our own desires? We, sir, are a breed apart from most people. We see what we want, and we take it. If a few tiny lights have to be extinguished to achieve our goals, then that is unfortunate. But it is of little consequence.
We're not talking about a few lights. We're talking about a few thousand lights. Maybe hundreds of thousands.
Then we will have to learn to live in the dark.
I can't do it, Horst.
Oh dear. I thought you were a man of your word, sir, but it seems I was mistaken. Very well. Then I am forced to take more drastic action. I don't know how much pressure it would take from my fingers to suffocate the young lady here. And I'm not entirely sure that I wouldn't apply slightly too much pressure and snap her spine. However, you have forced me to experiment.
Lieutenant.
All right, Horst. You win. Let her go.
Excellent. I thought you were a man of reason, sir, and I was right. I admire a man who is not so stubborn as to throw away what he values just for his stubborn pride.
You've got what you wanted, now let her go! I took Ilsa back to my office. What other choice did I have? I felt so stupid, giving Horst the sword and staying with Ilsa as the troll disappeared into the night's fog. But even if I'd tried to follow him, the dark magenta stench of Nylonathotep drowned out every other scent in the city. There was nothing I could do. After we'd both calmed down, I told her everything that had happened.
So Satrap was looking for Tukonka's jewel.
That jewel is known as the Radiant Trapezohedron, and I think it can save the city, but I have a nasty suspicion that we need this sword as well.
The Radiant Trapezohedron. Yes, it never occurred to me that they would be the same. The descriptions of the trapezohedron are vague at best. Satrap must have been trying to immanentize the Garunan Eschaton.
Can you try that again without sneezing?
The Garunan Eschaton is one of the many myths concerning the end of the Discworld. It's very obscure.
What's it about?
It tells how some of the entities from the dungeon dimensions have been trapped around the Discworld. Some in the lost city of Leshp, some in the heart of the Garuna Trench, some in places men don't even have names for. When the Eschaton occurs, they are supposed to be released from their captivity and destroy everything they can get their tentacles on. The usual thing.
Well, Nylonathotep is loose. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the end of everything. Maybe it's a good time to borrow lots of money.
Luton, I heard you'd been killed. I saw your grave.
I heal quickly.
I left a letter by your graveside.
I know. I saw it.
I wrote it when I had to leave you all those years ago, but I never had the courage to send it to you. I didn't know how to tell you that I was married.
To two conquerors.
Yes, he needs me, Luton. He always did. And in a strange way, I need him too. He gave my life meaning. I had nothing before I met him.
None of that matters anymore.
You never told me how you felt.
What's to tell? I was born when you kissed me, and I died when you left me. I lived a few weeks while you loved me. Of course, I also died when I got stabbed in the back, but you know, that wasn't nearly as painful.
I'm sorry.
I bet you never thought of me as a man who could fall in love.
I never thought about you at all. I couldn't. If I had, it would have driven me mad.
I thought about you every day, until I'd drunk enough to forget. I let my life slide till there was nothing left to live for but bitterness. Well, all that's going to change. I'm going to save this city if I have to die again to do it. And I'm not going to do it for you, or for me, or for the worthless people who live in it. I'm going to do it to prove for once and for all that I'm not the washed-up loser everyone thinks I am. And if it turns out that I am, then everything will get destroyed and no one will know about it. So hey, from where I stand, there's no downside.
What are you going to do?
First of all, we have to find Horst.
How?
I have no idea.
Well, I do, so that's fine. So we just like kicked Ilsa out, I guess. Now she's behind us. Oh, we also just left. He's like, I'm not interested, Luton. Anyway, I know what to do, but it's now the end of the episode, so we're going to do it next week. See, told you. Anyway, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, then like and subscribe, and next week we will find Horst and get the golden sword back. Anyway, see you later. Bye-bye!